Ever since I was a child, it had always been my dream to one day be in the Guinness Book of World Records. I could only imagine how incredible it must be to be the greatest in the entire world at one particular athletic feat or skill and have my record logged in a book for all to see. I tried a multitude of different sports and competed in as many track and field events as I could, but sadly, I was never able to find the one thing I could do better than anyone else. After numerous failed record attempts, I was beginning to lose all hope, and I thought that I might not be destined to be the best at anything. It was around this time that I stumbled across the record for the world's fastest punch. The current record holder was a man named Keith Liddell, and his punch was registered at 45 miles per hour. At first, I was stunned because I couldn't believe how slow that sounded. I was positive that I'd once seen my grandmother run faster than that when she was collecting her pension money. I knew right then and there that I could piss all over his record no sweat, and I would go down in history as the fastest puncher ever. It wasn't long before my physical shortcomings became painfully apparent. However, what I lacked in athletic abilities, I more than compensated with my intelligence. It was clear to me that if I were to stand any chance of beating the current record, I would have to think outside the box and come up with a strategy that has never been attempted before. I dedicated all my time and resources into pouring through all of the rules and regulations that the Guinness official adjudicators use to determine the legitimacy of a record attempt. That was when I finally found a loophole that I believed would give me the edge I needed to emerge victorious. You see, in all the official rules surrounding the fastest punch attempt, there was not a single mention about using a vehicle to accomplish this feat. I calculated that if I could accelerate my body faster than 45 miles per hour before throwing my punch, I would be almost guaranteed to smash the previous record. Whilst doing my research, I learned that there was a team who were attempting to break the world land speed record, and they had a car capable of traveling faster than the speed of sound. It was like fate was calling me, and I was ready to pick up the phone. With that in mind, I booked myself a ticket on the next bus heading for Black Rock Desert, Nevada, and I was feeling a sense of exhilaration for what was about to come. When I arrived at Black Rock, Nevada, it didn't take me long to track down the team attempting the land speed record, so I sneakily followed them back to the hotel they were staying at. I booked a room as close to them as possible, and I used all my charm and charisma to earn their trust. Eventually, they agreed to let me watch their next record attempt, but they insisted I stayed as far back as possible. After watching the pit crew run their safety checks, the all clear was given, and I knew it was now or never. The driver was powering up the car's dual jet engines, and they gave out an almighty roar that vibrated my entire body. This was my cue. I ran faster than that chick from Thundercats and threw myself onto the already moving car while onlookers gasped in horror. I jumped onto the car and tightly anchored myself to it with a clip from the harness I'd made. This was it. This was my moment to shine. I was either getting my world record today or would die trying in the process. The car began to accelerate despite the crew desperately trying to urge the driver to abort. The speed was unbelievable. We were now moving faster than your mom does on her Tinder dates. The car accelerated much faster than I had anticipated. I couldn't breathe or even open my eyes, and the noise was deafening. We were now hurtling down the track at unbelievable speed. It was time to throw my punch and make history. I put every ounce of strength I had in my body to launch my fist forward, and that's when I learned a valuable lesson about wind resistance. My arm was completely torn off the second I raised it, and after screaming like a bitch, I passed out. The last thing I remember was when the paramedics loaded me onto their helicopter to airlift me to hospital. I woke up a few days later, and apart from the missing arm, I was in good condition. I was devastated that I had failed yet another record attempt, and I broke down into tears. One of the nurses noticed me crying and asked me what was wrong, so I told her. She looked surprised and said, "Wait, they didn't tell you yet." Miraculously, I had actually made it into the Guinness Book of Records, but not for my fastest punch attempt. I had in fact been officially declared the dumbest person in the entire world, and they had a picture of me and everything. Although it wasn't the record I initially would have wanted, I was content that I had accomplished what I set out to do. I hope my story will encourage more people to follow their dreams and to never give up until they achieve their goals.